Title: Inside Story. After my nephew made a request. I never imagined this would be exposed. The summer had always been my favorite season. My name is Rebecca Johnson, and I lived in a quiet town in Ohio with my husband, David, and our teenage daughter, Emily. We lived a fairly peaceful life until one unexpected request from my nephew, Ethan, opened doors to truths that I never imagined would be revealed. Ethan was my sister's son, and though he didn't live with us, he spent a lot of time around our home because my sister often traveled for work. Ethan was a good kid, polite, bright, but also a little quiet. I had always thought he was simply shy, but one afternoon, his words changed everything. It started on a Saturday morning. I was watering the plants in the front yard when Ethan walked up with his backpack slung over his shoulder. His face looked uneasy, and I immediately sensed he wasn't just there for a casual visit. "Aunt Rebecca," he said softly, "can I ask you something?" I set down the watering can and gave him my full attention. "Of course, honey. You know you can always ask me anything." He hesitated, looking at the ground before finally meeting my eyes. "Can I stay here for a while? Like, not just for the weekend. Maybe longer?" The question surprised me. Ethan usually loved being at home, and his mom adored him. For him to request this meant something wasn't right. I invited him inside, sat him down at the kitchen table, and poured him some water. "Ethan, did something happen? Why don't you want to stay at your mom's?" He took a deep breath and whispered, "I think Uncle Mark has been hiding something." Now, Uncle Mark was my sister's husband, and hearing this caught me completely off guard. Ethan's eyes watered as he explained that he'd overheard late-night arguments between his parents and had seen messages on his dad's phone that suggested there might be someone else in the picture. At that moment, my heart sank. I knew this wasn't just a teenager exaggerating. His trembling voice told me he was deeply hurt and confused. He hadn't told his mom because he didn't want to upset her. That's why he had come to me. I hugged Ethan tightly and promised him that he had done the right thing. From that day, what started as a simple request for shelter slowly unfolded into a story of family, truth, and resilience. Over the weeks, Ethan stayed with us. My daughter Emily welcomed him like a brother, and David tried to keep the household calm. But behind the scenes, I struggled with the weight of what Ethan had confided in me. Should I tell my sister? Would she believe me or think I was meddling in her marriage? One evening, I sat down with David and shared everything Ethan had said. His face grew serious. "Rebecca, you can't carry this alone. If Ethan saw something, your sister deserves to know. But we need to be careful, this isn't just gossip. This is her family." We agreed to give Ethan time, making sure he felt safe and heard. Meanwhile, I gently encouraged him to write down what he saw and how he felt. Writing, I believed, could help him process his emotions. Weeks turned into months. Ethan's presence in our home brought both joy and heaviness. Joy, because the kids bonded like siblings and we had laughter at the dinner table. He even started opening up, sharing his love for photography and helping me capture garden moments. But heaviness lingered, because we knew a truth was hiding in the shadows. Finally, one day, Ethan found the courage to speak up. He asked me to be there when he told his mom. Together, we invited my sister over. With trembling hands, Ethan shared what he had seen and how it made him feel. His mother's face went pale, but instead of anger, she hugged him tightly, reassuring him that he had done nothing wrong. The following weeks were stormy for my sister as she confronted her husband about his actions. There were many tears, difficult conversations, and eventually, decisions about their future. But throughout it all, Ethan's bond with me and my family grew stronger. What shocked me most wasn't the betrayal itself, it was the bravery of a young boy who spoke up, choosing honesty even when it broke his heart. And in the end, that honesty set his family on a path toward healing, even if it wasn't the picture-perfect ending they once imagined. Looking back, I realize that sometimes the hardest truths come from the most unexpected voices. Ethan's request to stay with us wasn't just about needing shelter, it was about needing a safe space to be heard. And though it shook us all, it brought us closer together, reminding me that family isn't just about blood. It's about trust, support, and courage to face the truth, no matter how painful it might be. And so, what started as a single question from my nephew turned into a story of resilience, honesty, and the power of family bonds that no betrayal could ever fully destroy.